Welcome to the Gentleman's Guide to Gaming and a new character creation session, this time for the game Monster Kingdoms. We are creating the character of Angelique, who has shown up in the artwork for Monster Kingdoms. Angelique is a feyborn character from the Kingdom of Iom, and the Kingdom of Iom is a particularly depraved, nightmarish kingdom where the Fae hold sway. They will abduct people to live there, exist there, be tormented there forever. It is a realm of dreams, fantasies, nightmares, and fairy tales, and this is where our character is going to come from. So if you are tuning in live, please feel free to weigh in with your opinions and thoughts regarding this character as we create her. So I do excuse any typewriter machine gunning that should follow. Unfortunately, that is just how I type. Look, my name's already come up. So she is going to be Nightmare Mage is going to be her concept. We already know her kingdom is Iom. We know her mantle is Magus. Now, what is her dusk? I rather think that Angelique is quite insane, and her dusk is doom. She wants this world stripped clean so something new and better can be built in its remains. Maybe she's the person that leads to the world below's existence. We will have to find out. Now, looking at how to build a character in Monster Kingdoms, let us start with the skills. So, as with Curseborn, if you've watched any of my Curseborn character creation streams, you will know how this goes. Your major path is going to get 6 skills. Your minor paths will each get 3 skills. You'll then get 4 additional personal interest skills at the end of character creation. We need to decide which of these 3 is going to be her major, and I'm tempted. I'm going to go for Iom. I like it when a character's kingdom is the major path, because it will ultimately qualify her to purchase more edges at character creation, and edges are one of my favourite parts of this game. I mean, I love Scepters and Crowns as well. They are fantastic, great fun, magical powers that you can use in Monster Kingdoms, but edges, especially at character creation, really do, as the name implies, give an edge in all kinds of situations. So let's look at the skills that her kingdom entitles her to. Kingdom of Iom gives access to empathy, enigmas, and persuasion. So, as you will know, when I do Curseborn character creation, I always start with 3 dots and everything, just for illustrative purposes, but I tend to remain that way. And this is going to go up to 6 in total. So I'm tempted to go for enigmas and empathy again, and probably enigmas again. She is a magus after all. Now, following on from that, we want to look at her mantle, which we went for magus here, and their skills are enigmas, esoterica, and science. So we're going to get another dot. We could get another dot in enigmas, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to put 2 straight in esoterica and 1 in science. And then as for the Doom Dusk, she is an omen, a Doombringer. The skills there are athletics, close combat, and survival. Okay, alright, so those are the skill apportionments. As you can see, character creation is already moving very swiftly indeed. When we get to edges, things will undoubtedly slow down a little, because that's when lots and lots of choices come into play. But we now need our additional 4 points. I'm very tempted to put 2 in esoterica. I'm going to put 1 in science, and 1 final one in, let's see, Always helps to have access to ranged combat when you're a spellcaster, I find. So let's go for that. Now we move on to attributes. Now the attribute spreads, again, your major path in a Story Path Ultra game, such as The World Below, Monster Kingdoms, is going to give you a grand total of 10 attribute dots, and your minor pass will give you 4 each. So the Kingdom of Iom, the spread is, let's see, what is the attribute spread for this part? We're going to be looking at her house. This is the house part of the character creation. So for being a feyborn, let's see, we have the options here of different houses. We could go for Dream. Her ambition could be Wonder and Wishes. Dream Feyborn are naturally sweet. Their bodies perfectly formed. Their teeth all pearl white in the correct place. Their eyes a touch larger than average. Their hair always full, clean and colourful. Dream Feyborn are uncannily beautiful, affecting a magical charm with but a smile and a coo. They are the Fey about whom children dream and read tales. Based on the illustration of Angelique, I could very well see her being Feyborn. Let's see if the major path attributes marry up to that. That would mean mental 3, physical 2, social 5. For every rank of infamy, gain +1 stacking enhancement on influence actions centered on charming others. Not bad. I wasn't thinking of her necessarily being a social character so much as a mental one. So let's look at Nightmare now. House Nightmare. Terror and endings. There's no mistaking a Nightmare Feyborn. These monsters are claws, fangs, hungry stares, and appetites of void. They stalk, they terrify, and they consume. In a world where evil dominates, nightmares are pure, unmitigated depravity set to make the hardest, cruelest hearts shudder. It's very tempting. It is very tempting, but I think that may be going a little too far for how I'm picturing Angelique. House Tallowcatch now. So now I think we're entering a realm that will probably work. You are powerless. House Tallowcatch is home to Feyborn who relish the challenge of crushing their foe mentally and physically. Tallowcatch Feyborn are lithe yet brutish and fond of humiliating their prey. Almost all Tallowcatchers have waxy skin and brittle hair stiffened into spikes, which they sometimes set aflame to intimidate others and warm their cold insides. Their teeth rot fast and their tongues are traditionally split in 3. Behind their eyes is little more than malevolence. Oh, that's very tempting, isn't it? That is a very tempting option. And hello, people tuning in live. Let's answer some questions before we settle whether we're going for Tallowcatch or not. Peter wants to know, what would be some examples of uses of science in a fantasy world? Science could very easily be used for, let's see, chemical weapons. Is one very good one. Analysing the environment. Varrot is a kingdom of plague and rot, and basically determining the dangers and the biology of the ecosystem you happen to be in is quite useful. Also physics, siege weapons, aiming, such things, because legion-based combat is a part of this game too. I think science has a lot of applications in a fantasy game. Link says it's a good day for Doom. It is indeed, as far as Angelique's concerned. Hi, Mr. Mister. Hi, Corbin. And hello, Alf Black. I do indeed work for Onyx Path. I'm not Onyx Path personally, but I do work for them. They're one of my contractors. Or I'm one of their contractors, I should say. So, which kingdom has the best taverns? Good question, Corbin. Very good question. I would be tempted to say Pandemion, as long as you don't mind the occasional barroom brawl. So House Tallowcatch has an attribute split of mental 3, physical 5, social 2. I wasn't necessarily seeing her as being so dominantly physical, but I know that she's going to make up for the mental in being a magus. I could go for Wandout, House Wandout, which has a major path attribute spread of mental 6, physical 1, social 3. But that isn't what I'm imagining for her. So let's go for House Tallowcatch, I think. I really like the description. So it's going to be mental 3. Oh, that's right. We're going all in on intellect here. We're going physical 5. Yep. She is going to be strong. Oh. And social 2. She definitely has presence. So far, she is a glass cannon. That's for damn sure. And hi, Pill. Lovely to see you joining us. So we now need to look at the minor paths and the attribute spreads we get for them. So for the Magus, that is going to be Mental 3, Social 1. So don't worry, we weren't going to be quite as terrible as perhaps you feared. But we are bumping Intellect all the way up to the maximum. And Social 1, there we go. We are no longer absolutely useless. And her Dusk, the Doom Dusk, has Mental 1, Physical 3. So we're going to bump Resolve up. And I think Stamina... Dexterity and Dexterity again. Okay, so socially not all that great, but pretty damn powerful in the physical realm for a Magus, I have to say. But that is Angelique. She spends a lot of time at the gym when she's not beating people to death. So Angelique of House Angelique Tallowcatch. There we are. Alright, so that takes us on to edges. I think we're going to go straight to edges this time, rather than going down to scepters. When we do Curseborn, we always go straight to sorceries, or rather spells. This time we're going to go to edges. As we've chosen Kingdom as the major path for Angelique, I think that means she gets entitled to 8 different edges. So... let's see, which edges do we fancy? So I'm going to go through some of the options here. I've heard some people say that there are far too many edges to easily sort, and I understand why people might think that. But it's quite simple. The way you figure out what edges your character is entitled to is you just go Control and F, you type in your heritage. In this case, it's going to be feyborn. Or indeed you type in your kingdom, which in this case is going to be Iom. And Iom and feyborn is pretty synonymous for most of these edges. Not all, but for most of them. And I'm thinking I'm going to go for mental edges more than anything else. Starting with Distortion, which is a big purchase. So Distortion is a 3-dot edge. I qualify for it as a character from Iom and a feyborn. You possess a rare means of changing fate. Once per session, you can command the story guide or another player to reroll any number of dice you choose from their last dice pool. The story guide cannot refuse this. If a player refuses, the party gains 1 momentum. Now, this may seem as simple as spending the requisite momentum to basically buy enhancements or get a do-over or something like this. The real trick here is you can basically make the story guide keep all the 1s and 2s and just get them to re-roll the successes, the hits. So I really like Distortion. I like the idea of twisting fate. So that is one of the ones we're going for. That is a 3-dot edge. Next up, okay, looking at other ones that feyborn are entitled to, Mystic really works for me. Mystic, there's little about you that feels natural. Your attacks will benefit from the Arcane tag, which is very good for getting through certain types of armor. So Mystic is a 2-dotter, so that leaves us with 3 dots left. I saw this one being discussed on the Onyx Path Discord as quite a popular one. It's Riddle. It's only 1 dot. You can paralyze an enemy with your gift for magical riddles on a successful influence action, which Angelique isn't always going to do well with. You can purchase the following influence trick. Riddled, 1 hit. The target gains the immobilized status effect and won't act or speak to defend themselves the first time they're targeted with an attack as they attempt to unravel your riddle. So there's a little more to it than that, but I think that's a lot of fun. That is a lovely, fun ability. Not for the person on the receiving end of it, admittedly. And that gives us 2 more dots. And I think I am going to go for Magicrafter. Magicrafter is a physical edge. You channel magic into your possessions. Any item you wield, no matter how mundane, gains the multi-use tool tag and 1 weapon tag from Arcane, Malignant, Silvered, or Soul Drinker. So my character already carries the arcane tag on all attacks. So I am going to have Magicrafter effects. It's going to have the multi-use tag, and I think every other item and weapon, I think we're going to give Soul Drinker. Let's lean into that Doom Dusk, shall we? So there is our edge. Now we need a momentum generator. We haven't, and we need a trait for that matter. So let's go back to our house. We went for House Tallow Catch. For every rank of infamy, gain +1 stacking enhancement on combat actions using the arcane tag. That is not bad at all, given that all of my attacks are automatically carrying the arcane tag due to the mystic edge. So that means I will always gain +1 enhancement, and as my infamy goes up, that is... Oh, sorry, that shouldn't be in generators, that should be in trait. That means, yes, I am going to steadily become more and more deadly in combat as the game goes on. As far as Magi go, I am someone you do not want to get in a grapple with, I think it's fair to say. So, when it comes to generators, let's have a look at our options, because we haven't yet decided what kind of feyborn she is. We've got some options here for momentum generators. Trick someone, frighten someone, discover someone's secret. Given the way she is very much gearing to be, I'm going to go for frighten someone. That's going to be her momentum generator, and I think that's fair. This isn't a trickster fey. Angelique is a monster. So that then takes us on to Scepters. Now, because we didn't take Magus, Mantle, as our major, that means we only get one Scepter at character creation, which is fine. There are plenty of options available to us in the book, so let's have a look at some of them. So as a Magus, the 4 options listed are Grimoire of Glorious Sacrifice, Mask of Gorgon's Renewal, Staff of Caged Storms, and Staff of Comet's Call. I am tempted here to go for Staff of Caged Storms, not just because the Scepter pool is Esoterica plus Intellect, which is something we are very, very good at, but I'll give you the description of Staff of Caged Storms. Lightning spirits luckily don't care what form they get to take as long as they get to unleash their fury in a rush and collect themselves to do it again later. Lay Lastwind wanted to come up with a new way to throw lightning at her enemies and decided that giant sentient rolling balls unleashed upon the battlefield will be the most chaotic method of delivery. Not only can the caged storms move on their own toward the nearest target, they can also be directed and freed when an enemy decides to stop their rampage. This has the unfortunate side effect: there's no method yet to stop friendly fire. The Scepter effect is that I can unleash massive orbs of contained lightning onto the battlefield. They rush toward the enemy using the Flaming and Electrified tag. Woo! Okay. And of course, each hit I get, I'm going to potentially be able to create additional electrified orbs up to, I think, a maximum of 3. I love the idea of Staff of Caged Storms. This really ties into the Doom Dusk as well. So, let's see. We're going to put the pool down. Esoterica plus Intellect. And you know what? We are going to... As soon as we succeed with this roll, we're going to create these orbs with Flaming and Electrified tags. Additional hits can be spent to do the following. Send the orbit into another target at a cost of 2 hits per target, imposing the on fire area effect. And buy the destroy object and shockwave and close go. Yes, that looks like a lot of fun. Alright, I'm sorry, I'm enjoying making a monster a little too much. Yeah, Rhea Ripley is actually a really good visual, I think, for Angelique. Okay, so we're going for the Staff of Caged Storms. I will copy some of the text out so you know what I'm talking about. Alright then, so that's what I'll note down for now. Now, when it comes down to crowns, character creation, even if Dusk is your major path, you only get one crown at character creation. Instead, if you take Dusk as a major path, you get a different immediate benefit. So, for the time being, we're just going to be looking for one crown. And this is going to be tied to my Dusk of Doom. There are 7 Doom crowns, and they're all very, very appealing. But I want to go for one where I can qualify for the mastery of that crown immediately. So let's have a quick look at our attributes and skills. We want something which either depends on intellect, might, or dexterity, and esoteric as a skill. And I think the obvious choice here is going to be Crown of Arcane Calamity. I will describe this one to you. This one is grotesque. A bloated, bejeweled crown pulses above the crown bearer's head, sparks randomly sputtering from the gleaming gems. Sparks fly from every mystical object and effect as the Havoc area effect blights the area where I use this crown. I can ignore the Havoc area effect, and it applies out of short range for the remainder of the scene. I can grant as many weapons to the arcane tag as I want, including my allies, for 1 additional hit per use, and the cost to buy off the Defiance complication increases by 1 if I wish. So, what is the Havoc area effect? I'm sure you're wondering right now. Let's have a look. See whether it appeals. Surging arcane energies impose complications on magical actions, warping the surrounding area as an arcane maelstrom tears through the vicinity, leaving the area marred by mystical scars and strange phenomena. If not bought off, the character suffers 1 injury, and the story guide may choose to impose another area effect, including inflict a status effect or add an additional target. Yes, indeed. That is what we're going for. And we're just going to note down here, Havoc. That is what the Crown of Arcane Calamity is able to do. Now, another part of character creation is we get to assign ourselves some gear. Characters get to choose 1 weapon or 1 tool or 1 armor, 2 of those. You could have 2 weapons if you want. I'm going to go for 1 weapon and 1 armor. I'm going to go for, I'm going to call it a blazing quarterstaff. And I'm going to give it the 2 tags of piercing and reach. With the idea being that the blazing quarterstaff, in fact, I'm going to call it the impaling quarterstaff. I know there is a tag for impaling that we've introduced in this game. I'm hoping that I will add that in future. I'm also going to give myself some shell armor. Bug shell, like in the world below. And this comes with the fitted tag and the padded tag. So for fitted, it means I'm going to get a +1 enhancement to all defensive actions. Padded is going to give me an additional bonus injury. So I will need to keep that in mind. So I'll keep it added to the armor there. So we got 1. There we go. We'll put that in. So we'll do it in reverse. Finally, contacts. We need some contacts about the world. So let's look at, let's see, our kingdom first. We will get 3 dots for this one. So we're going to call her Mother Magda, Old Witch. And she is going to be our mentor. I'm going to put 3 dots in her rather than assign her 3. In fact, you know what? I'll give her 2 tags and assign her 3 uses. She's mentor and she is craftswoman. Mother Magda raised me. My mantle is going to be... Oddly, I'm going to go for a human magus from Droidahek because it will actually give me a connection to another kingdom here. So we're going to call him Bakufu, or Bakugu. Magus of Droidahek. And he is going to be an informant. And finally, we've got our Dusk, which is Doom. I'm going to have Doom Bringer... Doombringer Keng. And Doombringer Keng is my spiritual guide. And I would suggest that healing is what we get out of that one. There we go. Boom! Done. Character creation completed already. Well, now we can assign aspirations based on our... we haven't talked about doctrine, our faith. I think my character's most likely to worship the old ways. And obviously your aspirations are going to change throughout the course of the game. But let's go for destroy a vehicle or machine. I like destroying things. Release... I'm going to free some slaves from their bondage. Apparently I don't care all that much for slavery. And my long-term aspiration is going to be destabilize an entire city. Because Angelique Tallow-Catch is a perfectly functioning, pleasant individual. So there we go. There's character creation for Monster Kingdoms done in... How long did that take me? Not long. Under 30 minutes to create a character. Admittedly, I have the familiarity of having developed this game. But given that I've been talking through it at each point, I'm pretty pleased with how short a time that took to complete. So, if anyone has any questions about Monster Kingdoms, I don't have to wrap up yet. We can answer some questions, talk the game over a little. And of course, if you are watching live, please do leave a thumbs up so the video shows up for others. I don't think Angelique is pleasant in the slightest, Link, but I really appreciate your belief in her. I've used her art for the thumbnail on this video, and hopefully it will be large enough, but you can also see her depicted on the back-a-kit page for Monster Kingdoms. She wasn't statted before now, but having done this, should we get our jumpstart, we can now put her in as a character straight into the jumpstart book because we have now created a character sheet. Nice and simple. Lovely. Okay. Alright, everybody. Well, if there are no questions for today, I want to thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And if you haven't backed Monster Kingdoms already, please consider doing so. It took under 30 minutes to create this character, and I had to talk through it every single step of the way. For you, it'll probably take even less time, but by all means, enjoy reading the manuscript. And Link, you've got a video coming up this week all about bleeding RPGs, so keep your eyes open. I've recorded it early and that'll be coming up later this week. I'll be doing another video later in the week as well. Curseborn character creation, in fact, using the Curseborn Player's Guide as my basis. So that's exciting, isn't it? We're going to get to see a new family from the Curseborn Player's Guide. Tell people in the Curseborn channel on the Onyx Path Discord that that is coming up and that they can find out more if they watch this Monster Kingdoms character creation session, because maybe it will get them to back Monster Kingdoms too. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. I will be seeing you next time.